Today we are going to go ahead and go over simplifying and factoring expressions. So simplifying expressions, we are trying to take an algebraic expression and we want to get it down to its simplest form, okay? So in its simplest form is when it has no like terms and it has no parentheses. So to simplify an algebraic expression, okay, so now to go ahead and to simplify it, we need to go ahead and to distribute and combine like terms. So here are some examples, okay? So I have a parentheses here. I have a couple X's going on. So I need to go ahead and to first step, I need to distribute. So remember, it's got a pretty color. So distribute is going like this, going like this. So if I distribute that out, I will have 3x minus 15. And then bring the rest of the information down after I do that. Plus 8x plus 1. Now, I need to combine like terms. So I'm just going to highlight this. I have an x that doesn't have an x. This has an x. Let's just go ahead and maybe underline our constants here. So now, combine like terms. So 3x plus 8x. So 3 plus 8 gives me 11. 11, bring the x down. Whoop, use both those. Now, negative 15 plus 1. Negative 15 plus 1 is negative 14, so minus 14. That is in its simplest form. Same thing for problem number 2. Go ahead and to distribute. If you find that writing the little loop-de-loop number or arrows helps, do that. If you don't need to. So distribute that. 5 times n is 5n. 5 times 6 is 30. And since it's not negative 30, it's a positive, I want to add the plus sign. And then bring the rest of the information down, minus 21. I'm going to do this one all with just a black pen so you can see what you do it if you don't want to go ahead and actually color code things. So 5n, let's go, how about we circle the variable terms? Well, that is just a line because that's a constant and that's a constant. So since I only have one variable term, I'm just going to bring it down, 5n. And then plus 30 minus 21. So 30 minus 21, you can go ahead and do that in your head or in your calculator if you need to. And it ends up being 9. 9 is a positive number. So plus 9, 5n plus 9 is that expression in its simplest form. Now coming to look at number 3. So let's look at this. I need to distribute. So I will have negative 7w. And then is this distributed now? Negative 7 times 4. That gives me negative 28. Okay, so I've already done all that math. Going up here, just going to bring this rest of the information down. Plus 2w minus 15. Okay, so now I've distributed. Now I need to go ahead and combine like terms. So see, I have a variable term with a w, a variable term with a w, I have a constant, I have a constant. Okay, so now starting with the variable terms, negative 7w plus 2. So figure out what this is without the w and then put it back. So in my calculator, I could put negative 7 plus 2. And negative 7 plus 2 is going to tell me that the answer is negative 5. Bring the w back with it. I've used both these. I can move on. Now in my calculator or in my head, I can go ahead and do negative 28 minus 15. Negative 28 minus 15, my calculator is going to tell me it is negative 43. So I've used both those. My expression is now in the simplest form. I do want you guys to understand and to be able to see, oh, where's my eraser? Maybe that's the eraser. Cool, my eraser's not working. But that this expression here is the exact same mathematically as this expression. This is just in the simplest form. But if I took a number and I put it in for w, say I said w was 1, this would come up with the same answer as this would come up with the same answer. Okay, last problem here. We have, let's distribute this because I have a number outside parentheses, which, if you remember from when we went over distributing, this means this number times everything in here, okay? And since I don't know what k is, I have to distribute it out. So 12 times 4 gives me 48. And 12 times negative 1 is negative 12k. And then bring the rest of the information down, minus 9k. Go ahead, let's see, this is a constant, I'll circle that. This is a variable term with a k. You can even give it a little triangle. So starting with the variable terms, take negative 12 minus 9. Negative 12 minus 9 will give me negative 21. Bring the k down. 48 is the only variable, or it's the only constant I have. Looking at that, since there is no negative sign, I know it is positive, plus 48. That is that expression in its simplest terms. So factoring expressions. Factoring is almost the opposite of distributing, okay? So it's separating an expression back into a product is called factoring. So in its simplest form is 2x plus 8. So now factored is pulling the greatest common factor out of the simplest formula and adding parentheses back into it. So the steps to factor, okay? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the greatest common factor of each term, okay? So the greatest common factor of these two, well, 2, I can times this number, or I can divide this number by 2. I can also divide this number by 2. I cannot divide this number by a number bigger than 2 and come up with a whole number. So 2 is going to be my greatest common factor on this example. Divide each term by the greatest common factor and leave the remaining factors in parentheses. Check your work by distributing. So let's look at some examples we have here. We have 7x plus 7. Okay, well, looking at those, you're like, wow, I can divide both of them by 7. So, okay, if I divide that by 7 and I divide that by 7. So 7, if I divide 7x by 7, I am left with x. And then if I divide 7 by 7, I am left with the usually invisible, but is there, 1. So now this is that expression factored. If I want to go ahead and check my work, I can go ahead and distribute it. Out here. 7 times x is 7x, plus 7 times 1 is 7. Notice how these two are the same. That is a way to work backwards and to check your work. Okay, number 2. See, I got 4K plus 20. Well, I know by looking at this, can divide them both by 2, but at bigger numbers, I can divide them both by 4. So divide by 4, divide by 4. If I pull 4 out, I am left with K plus 5. And again, I can work backwards just to check it. Here, K times, 4 times K is 4K, plus 4 times 5 is 20. So this is the factored expression. Looking at number 3, same thing. Let's go. I5, it's a multiple of 5. They both end in 5. I know it's multiples of 5. If I take 5 out, I am left with M minus 15 divided by 5 is 3. And if I wanted to work backwards again and double check my work, 5m minus 5 times 3 is 15, and those indeed are the same. Same with number 4. 48 is a multiple of 6. I know this, so I can divide them both by 6. If I factor 6 out, so 6r divided by 6 leaves me just with r, minus 48 divided by 6 is 8. And then I have that s, so it is negative 8s for there. So again, if I wanted to go ahead and distribute this out, 6 times r is just 6r, and 6 times negative 8 is negative 48s. Sorry, 6 times negative, this would be negative 8s. Adding cute little summary slide here to the video because I would like you to kind of summarize maybe what factoring is, maybe what the difference between factoring and distributing are, or feel free to go ahead and write a sentence on what simplifying an expression is.